another match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is. Game, set, and match.
Hello and welcome back, hopefully, because you've been watching all day, to the 2024-25 APTA Tour. We're live from the Medinah Country Club in beautiful, historic Medinah, Illinois, bringing you the Medinah Cup with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors, Volley and Corient. Tournament support has been provided by the following local sponsors: Baird Private Wealth Management, CDM Software Solutions, Dilly Life, Jimmy John Sandwiches, Monaco Mechanical, RT Nelson and Associates, Sport Court Midwest, and Viking Athletics. I'm Matt McClure alongside Anthony McPherson, Tournament Director and Director of Racket Sports here at Medinah Country Club. It's exciting to be back here with you, Anthony. It feels like we just did this.
We did on Thursday.
You're right, we did do this on Thursday on the local CPTC live stream. That was awesome. Would you like to introduce our players?
Sure. On the close side to us, we've got Mitch Granger on the ad side. On the deuce side, we have Ryan Baxter. On the other side, on the deuce side, we have Mike Wagner. And on the ad side, Andrew Ong.
These players have really been grinding it out today. I think Andrew Ong and Mike Wagner just played a match that lasted, I'm just going to estimate here, 9 hours and 41 minutes. Does that seem right?
Definitely.
Okay, it was something like that. It might not have been 9 hours, but it was a little over 3. And they really went the distance in their last round. Actually, Cal, I did update the draw screen here if you want to take a look at these players and how they got here. Baxter, Granger had a good one against Barnes and Lambropoulos, which you saw on the live stream earlier today. And then over on the other side, Ong and Wagner, 3-6, 6-2, 6-1 against Held and Schneider, which actually, looking at that score, I'm shocked that that's the score of that match. I would have expected it to be, 7-6, 6-4, 4-6, something like that. But having a 6-2, 6-1 set really must have been some crazy points out there. Our umpire, Rob Laboon, is up in the chair. He's doing triple duty today. So a big shout out to Rob, who, is just announcing every single match he can possibly get his hands on. I don't know if he just likes sitting at the top of the screen or what, but maybe he was voluntold to do all these in a row. I'm not sure.
I think he comes for the Jimmy John sandwiches, the box lunches.
Because where else can you get Jimmy John's?
That's right. That's right.
It's a custom local sub shop.
All right. Today, the scoring system to be used will be all main draw matches are regular scoring, best 2 out of 3 sets. All back draw matches are regular scoring with a 10-point third set tiebreaker.
Oh, yeah.
As usual.
I before the match asked these guys if there was any chance they'd be willing to play best of 5, just to mix it up. And strangely, Andrew Ong was the only one to be like, yeah, that sounds fun.
All right, we're getting into it here. First point.
It's good movement right off the bat. You're going to see a lot of that. Especially Mike Wagner on the far side in the blue hat, and Ryan Baxter here on the ad side with the red paddle and the dark gray hat. Those guys like to creep forward off of their partner's drives and make stuff happen, get into kind of that hand-to-hand combat at the net. So it's fun to watch. I would say Andrew Ong, who just hit that overhead, and then Mitch Granger, who's on the deuce side here in the white hat. They take a little bit bigger backswings, kind of bigger cuts at the ball. And so, you might be able to read their shots a little bit more. Whereas Mike and Ryan have really quick, short, rapid-fire backswings, and they just hit the living crap out of the ball.
Oh, I totally agree. They snap it, short backswings. super clean ball.
One time I played against Ryan Baxter, and he set up on a forehand, and then the ball hit me in the chest. I don't even think there was a follow-through. Like, he still looked like he hadn't hit the ball yet, and I was like, well, how did that happen?
Yeah, don't blink with them, that's for sure.
That's tough. You do not love being at the net in those situations. So this is that point in the tournament here in the semis where these guys have played all day, and they've gotten the competitive juices going, but getting back into your rhythm after, a break and a shower and after lunch and playing a couple of, long sets is kind of the challenge, right? Can you get the engine running and, kind of connect that with your mental game in order to find your groove? I would expect all four of these guys to be able to pull that off. They're all still in, relatively good shape, I would say.
Physical.
Yeah.
Physical.
Yeah.
We'll see mentally.
Some of them are disasters, but you know what? That's between them and their therapist.
Well, we'll find that. We'll find that out soon. Andrew definitely likes to put his opponents through the mental ringer.
Yes, he's going to test them. That is just a little wide. Great little waterfall to pin Mitch in the side screen. I'm a big fan of all four of these guys. It's hard to find a nicer group of guys playing a match like this.
Yes, I totally agree. I've played against everybody here except for Mike Wagner, but even though I've never met Mike until this weekend, super nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
Super nice guy.
Yeah. I'm curious to see on both of these teams where they're going to prefer to set up their net positions. I know that, Ryan might put a little bit more action on his overhead at moments as compared to Mitch. Mitch probably is a little more aggressive with his roller, where I think Ryan is a little more aggressive with the cut that he puts on, his overhead, a little bit more spin. And then I don't know in terms of, Andrew and Mike, if they have big preferences as to who's going to take the tee and who's going to play at the net. You see them switch there in a pretty comfortable position. But this is going to be a lot of transition paddle. All four of these guys like to drive, and they can hit great spots, and nobody is afraid to give up the net. They don't mind being in the backcourt. That's a great roller from Mitch.
That's a really good roller.
That's what I was talking about a second ago, where he just is a little bit more aggressive with that racket head speed or paddle head speed, depending on what sport you're playing.
Yeah, the beauty of that one, he barely catches the ball on the paddle.
Yeah.
And just creates so much spin to that side screen, it just drops.
So thin.
So what I saw in their previous match from Ong and Wagner, they both love to drive off that back screen with the backhands. They're going to keep going at that. But what I found interesting is even on probing shots, like probing drives or even like shorter lobs where they start to see the opponent let that ball drop for like more of the standard reset, Ong blitzes and pops volleys. So I'm interested to see if they'll do that, especially against Mitch and Ryan.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a little extra.
They're fast movers, and so, you do that at the wrong time, and you float a ball, up a little high, and you're going to catch that next one in your shins.
That's right.
If you're lucky. So first game there to Wagner Ong. It's a good hold, good solid start. The other thing that Mike Wagner does so well is there's something about his movement where he just seems to always have his balance. And he's one of those guys, more so than others, where you'll see him hit 4, 5, 6 drives in a row. Because if you don't pressure him with the volley, he doesn't mind pulling the trigger on the next shot. And a lot of times it looks like he's standing in exactly the same place, but it's really just kind of a testament to his, sort of natural balance and athleticism.
Totally. Do not try that at home. The side backhand drive, he's very good at it, but I would not suggest that to the average player.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You better put it in a spot where nobody's going to be able to hit any type of controlled volley.
Especially back behind you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with the balance. All four of these guys even when they're ripping, they're loaded up with the legs. The footwork is probably most underrated. But if you watch it in slow motion, you're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Like, look how great the footwork was.
Yeah. A good challenge for the viewer at home, you know, kind of regardless of level, is as opposed to watching the ball for a couple of points, pick one player and just watch them the whole time. Just kind of watch how they, you know, sweep across the court in anticipation of shots and what they do with their feet. It's pretty eye-opening to realize, you know.
That's a good ball. All right, starting with the roller.
Yep.
The roller definitely takes the wear and tear of the body away
From the service
from
motion?
the standard service motion.
Yeah, it's also a really, I think it's becoming a more important tool as well, just in terms of being a changeup, right? Like if you can go to the roller and you've been hitting kind of, you know, bigger cutter serves with more pace, well, all of a sudden hitting a ball, you know, kind of low and slow, it, you know, forces somebody to change their strike zone.
Right, right. Yeah, more like a ground stroke instead of a service return.
Yep. I do think a really good roller serve becomes way more difficult to attack with your drive, right? That's kind of the design. That's a really good move there by Mike Wagner.
Yes, I agree. I think the design...
Mike.
I think the design of that serve is, you know, the returner's got to hit up on the ball, you know, and not hitting down at your feet. So the volley, although might be difficult, it's being hit up at you and not down.
It's another good probing drive. Not really special from Mike Wagner, but just, you know, dropping as it crosses the net. And tough volley, couple in a row.
I like the movement there by Mitch, though. I mean, making that returner think a little bit about their placement.
Yeah. He's not going to let them just pick their spot and hit it every time and not be involved.
Yes, I think the payoff, you know, you might not get the payoff on that individual one, but definitely lays the groundwork for future returns and volleys there.
I was joking with somebody the other day where they were asking about, you know, when I'm the server's partner, you know, how do I be most effective? And I was like, well, a big one is acting like you want to be there. You know, like if you're that type of net player who's like, I'm going to stand here, but please don't hit the ball at me, that is not helping your partner. You gotta get active up there. And if you don't love to be there, just fake it till you make it.
That's right.
That's actually where that phrase comes from. It's about being the net player in racket sports.
All right, so Mitch, he's mixing up his overheads really nicely here. You know, you see a few, you know, bigger cuts to the side, but a lot of standard resets to lay that groundwork, consistency. That's great ball.
Yeah, touched his shorts on the way through.
There's that pressure, though, that we talked about. All right, side back side. Oh, man.
It's a great move from Mitch as well.
He was looking for it.
Yeah, it's like he did a little more with his hands than he was, you know, trying to, but the shift to cover that down the line was smart.
Yeah, they definitely have talked about this ahead of time. You know, with Ryan doing that combo, opening up that corner by using the side back, and then attacking the back side. They know what's coming. Now the matter of whether they can volley it, we'll see, or transition it.
Right. And right here in the beginning, but this is just from having seen, you know, Mike Wagner play a whole bunch, there is going to be a point of diminishing returns in attacking, like especially a ball that you put into the backside screen against him, because he just loves that backhand screen drive.
He does.
So I mean, there's a you're really playing risky.
Oh, what happened
that
there?
caught a weird spot on the top beam. Oh, they're saying it went off a lamppost.
Well, we can't see it
Yeah,
on
we
our
don't.
camera.
That's the only angle we don't have, but it must have. Yeah, because it's tough for the ball to come back at that angle. Good dig from Ryan. Oh, let court snowboard dig.
Right.
I love that play from Mitch.
Nice. Then bail out. I like it. Get up there. Didn't take control and just bail out. Live for another shot.
I will say that this is going to be an advantage for Ryan and Mitch in the backcourt. Is that Ryan tends to hit a little bit more of like a precision trajectory lob. Like he kind of, well, when he steps up and blocks it, he puts it a little bit lower in the, on the trajectory side. Mitch likes to hit this sky lob especially from the deuce corner, and it sort of changes the rhythm for the overheaders. And that's where you were able to see Mitch like move in and blitz. Even though when I started this sentence, they hadn't lost a point off a lob like they did now. But,
The way it goes.
Yep.
All right, so they're trying.
That's starting to get dangerous as Mike finds his groove on those backhands. They've given up the net a few times already in this game off of Wagner's backhand screen drive. And I'll be honest with you, it's not like you want to attack Ong on the deuce side. It doesn't feel like a good correction, but...
Well, what Ong does so well is he holds his paddle angle, and makes his shot selection very late.
Yeah, and that last move is what you're going to see Ong do so well, is that if you put 3 balls in a row to his side without a purpose, he's going to move forward and take something on the rise or, block it down at your feet.
Okay, playing a little popcorn, but all the safe spots.
I do not think Andrew planned to hit that ball before it showed up. I think he kind of went like, oh, that bounced higher than I thought, and then maybe made a late decision.
Definitely. Definitely not as balanced as his previous.
That's a good roller. Deep enough in the court and with enough pace where it's just so hard to take it off the deck and control it. So 1-1, Bamboo shoots. Wagner staying back for a couple of balls.
I think the beauty of playing platform tennis at this level is that guys are so confident whether they're up at the net or in the backcourt. There's sometimes advantages depending on the type of players you're playing. Just grind it out from the back.
We actually saw Mitch play in a Series 2 match recently here in Chicago on the live stream. It was a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that came up is that teams, because they were getting a little bit stale in their position, like they were playing really long points and hitting, 60 and 70 shots from the net or 60 and 70 shots from the backcourt. When they were up at the net, they were just selectively like, you know what, I'm going to crush one and just give up the net to do something different.
Right.
Right, and just change the rhythm a little bit. And ultimately, I think that benefits, especially these players that love to counterpunch. If you love your screen drive, then that's probably more your style.
Right. Yeah, I would say although Andrew's got great hands, he mixes up his cuts on his overhead so well. He is his paddle's super hard to read from the backcourt.
Yeah. That kind of stuff there. As you mentioned, he just holds his paddle angle for so long.
Yep.
And you start feeling like, well, I can't really tell if he's going to lob it or drive it.
That's right.
Based on his preparation.
Yes. And I think that's something to, at home watching here, you see their stances. They're set up. They look like they could drive every ball, right?
Right.
So even if they are lobbing, they're getting into that set, loaded position. And don't. Oh wow.
That's a great
That
cutter.
was.
It was way deeper than Ryan was trying to hit it. And Andrew Ong made the right move. He was like, oh, this thing's going to go way forward. And then it came right back at his body.
I was just going to, yes, I was just going to say that. Ryan would probably admit, too, that's not the cutter he was trying to hit.
That's not what I was going for,
Yes.
but I'll take it.
Great result.
You know, there was a time where in the evolution of the game, the go-to shot was always the short cutter, right? It was like, I'm going to put a bunch of spin on it and try to land it within 2 feet of the net and get it, you know, to really die quickly. And then as players got better at reading it and, you know, the athleticism in the game improved, that started to go away.
Oh, yeah.
And now there's this, you know, this variable level to the cutter where it's like, you got to be able to hit that thing short and you got to be able to hit it so that it lands a little deeper in the court. And if you're really good, you can get it to do different stuff off the screen. I mean, you can't just have this like, well, that's my go-to shot. Now the match is over.
Yeah, too many guys are getting they're getting a beat on the ball. You know, as you're winding up now, they're running it down before you even hit it.
Yeah, yeah. At this level, you show a shot like that, you know, a couple of times, and it's not going to be a winner for that long. It better be one of the greatest, you know, cutters you've ever hit in order for the point to be over.
That's right.
Mitch's roller starting to dictate some more play there, becoming difficult enough and low enough to make it happen. Good call. Great communication at the net, too.
Nice pressure. There it is, Heath. Nice. That is
That's
really
a good play. And notice how they started to keep the ball out of Wagner's corner during that point, right? Like they hit a couple of probing shots there, but they really kind of focused more middle deuce side.
Smart Val.
Yep, good play. That's a good move. It's tough. Maybe forcing that one a little bit. Never quite regained his balance after the transition. Had to give up the net and then kind of got pinned.
So it looks like that's what they're trying to do, right? I
Yeah.
mean, get Mitch over to that ad side. I think what you'll notice is, you know, when Mitch is on that ad, you see Ryan shift and give him a clear lane to hit anywhere he wants. I think that's so key. Sliding over.
I also think that this is probably their strongest position, especially if they're going to play, you know, this style where they don't put a bunch of balls, you know, into the Mike's side screen or into his screens in general. Also because I think Ryan Baxter does a great job with stuff like that where, like, he doesn't mind attacking the volley off of a drive. So ultimately he's a threat. Like, if you drive at the wrong time and he cuts across and gets a hold of a volley, he can do a bunch of stuff with it. That one was a tough one to hang in on because Mike got to hit that from so high above the net. But
And a great spot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, right at that upper part of the pec or rib cage.
right quadrant,
Yeah,
upper
that's-
right quadrant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is a tough volley there from Andrew Ong to not only make that move, but carve the angle once he got there. He must work out. It's a good dig. Nobody can shake the superstructure of the court like Mitch Granger.
He definitely tests.
He just really, he
it.
does not slow down before he moves into a screen.
So I thought
Great
there,
dive.
yeah, definitely brought a little bit of pressure by Ryan. You could see that Andrew's eyes looked up a little bit at Ryan and maybe caused that, help force that error.
Yep. All right. 2-all in set number 1. If you're just joining us, we are here at the Medinah Country Club, which is the home to the Medinah Cup. Now, I've never seen the cup. Where is it?
Someday we might have to do that. I think we weren't thinking.
You know what? That's okay.
We thought the prize money was more important.
Well, I mean, you can put it in any kind of cup, you know, whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
A beer mug, you know. If it's a plastic Miller Lite cup filled with cash, I don't think that anyone will complain.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Ooh, nice
Way to
dodge.
dodge that, yeah. So this year we've added a couple sites. We ran men's and women's tournament the same day. Historically, we've run the women's on Friday and the men's Saturday, Sunday. And we had quite a bit of local women, actually, that, you know, were like, we'd love to have it on Saturday, you know, work full time. And we've been able to draw some of the, you know, better working women to come out and participate. So that's been great. Special thanks to Oak Park Country Club, River Forest Country Club for adding on this year. Also, Glen Ellen Platform Tennis Club and Glen Oak.
It's cool to see the western suburbs here grow in the same way that the North Shore did, you know, as it picked up. That's a really good screen drive there.
Screen drive,
Mike
Nick.
Wagner.
Was that a Nick
Yep.
there? Yeah.
Great cross-court angle. That's a rough one because you feel like, you know, as Mitch and Ryan, Baxter, Granger there are in control of 90% of that point. And then, you know, you hit one overhead with a little too much pace and somebody gets a hold of it and lasers it past you. Good overhead, pulled him way out of position. I'm willing to bet that's one of those times where that ball didn't do what Ryan Baxter thought it would because the screens were still shaking, you know? there's some kind of weird angle that comes off where you're like, yeah, I don't know, it was like a trampoline. I don't know what happened. It's a smart change up there from Ryan Baxter to take it the other direction. Wagner's ready, but oh yeah.
So I like more of those cutters. I think in the modern game, those type of cutters that just, they're not very risky.
Yes.
It's less the underside of the ball. And still has the same effect. Pulls these
somebody out of
baseline.
position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and ultimately, you know, you put enough spin on it where somebody has to be thinking about, okay, how can I hit a decent lob, as opposed to it turning into something that they can attack if you leave it too short.
Yes. Yeah. It doesn't sit up as much.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. And even when they come up for it, is it going to slide off my paddle? You know, what direction is going to go?
Right.
So having to counter that is a lot tougher.
Yeah. You'll also see it generate some opportunities in terms of, you know, it'd be like it turns into a short ball, great ball right there from Andrew Ong.
I have to say, his screen drive, like one hand like that when he comes in, it is such a heavy ball.
It's awesome. He is about as good as you can be without ever changing your grip, you know?
Yeah, I would. that is a great point.
Don't get me wrong, he does change his grip on his serve. It's not like he doesn't change his grip, but with his style of play and the way he likes to hit the ball, he like can remain continental for like 95% of what he does, because he never really like goes all crazy on hitting a super aggressive topspin. Sometimes when he does, he just feels his way through it, where he takes the ball from high and kind of flicks his wrist a little bit. His backhand one-handed screen drive, he doesn't change his grip.
No, not at all.
And then he's got a good two-handed solid drive, but he doesn't change his grip there either. He just uses his left hand to manipulate it. So as much as I hate to say it, he's just so gosh darn talented. Train in real game scenarios with serve and volley, the world's first responsive play drill. Volley's new AI power featured tracks your position. Let me try that again. Volley's new AI-powered feature tracks your position, the ball, and returns every serve for targeted practice. Try it today on the Volley app. I have had the opportunity to try the serve and volley feature on the Volley machine, and it is ridiculously cool.
It is so cool. We had a demo here yesterday for about 10 members during our Pro-Am portion of the tournament, and it was unbelievable. At one point, I even had my 8-year-old son on it, hitting overheads. It was getting pretty dangerous out there.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then I got to see a little bit of the behind the scenes of how the AI function like tracks your body movements, right? And it like draws those lines over your body and like figures out where the ball is in relation to you and how you're moving. And then I kind of felt like it was the Terminator, and I got a little nervous. It was like, it's learning everything about me.
That's right.
This is how it starts. Skynet takes over.
Yeah, thank you to the Volley team that brought that over yesterday. Much appreciated.
Oh, no!
Shoot.
Nobody called that thing. It was a floater. That's a tough one. Ryan Baxter, you'll see him moving backwards here to get this ball. He's going to drive a backhand. Mitch is coming forward, thinking that he's going to crush a forehand, and there just wasn't any communication.
Ooh, there's the first big one.
Yep.
Changed.
Good play. Great hands, too.
Unbelievable transition there.
I mean, Ong got there with plenty of the time and smacked it, and Ryan Baxter was just like, well, I'll just flex this back.
Yeah. Well, first couple times here, we've seen Ryan actually compress a forehand. That could get spicy.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where if he decides to haul off and hit it, I mean, it's as hard as a ball can go. The real impressive part about his game is when you can hit a ball that hard, how much are you holding back on a ball-to-ball basis in order to keep it from, going completely off the rails. I always tried to tell people that, and I'm not sure how much they understood it, but the impressive part about professional sports in general, but on the racket sports side, is it's not how hard they hit the ball, it's how hard they could hit the ball if they wanted to, and they have to choose to keep the ball in play based on the laws of physics, right? And then how much can how many times in a row can you pull that off? So Ong Wagner with a little 40-15, 3-2 opportunity here to take a hold and then a potential break, which would be our first separation in the set.
Wow, great reflexes there.
Just deep.
Hung up in that screen, I think, just a little longer than normal.
So one break point saved. Tough dig. Made it work. That was the first backhand drive from Andrew Ong that I've seen be like kind of ill-advised. You know, came all the way over on his partner's side and then left it high.
Yeah.
It's not probably what he was going for.
He did say mine, sorry.
That's true, yeah.
And by the way, Andrew did change his grip on that forehand.
That's true.
We have not seen many of those.
You know. That's got to make Mitch and Ryan feel good, you know. Hey, we made him change his grip. Look, do something different. Ooh, that was danger zone. Reset overhead on the jumping fadeaway. So for players watching at home who have heard their pro talk about pick and stick and how important it is that you just constantly put the ball into the ad corner when you can attack or put stuff on, you know, people's backhands, you're not going to see much of that in this match. Oh, great catch. And it's very calculated because at this level, if you put the ball in the same spot 3 or 4 times in a row, somebody's going to figure out a way. Oh, kept it low enough where it became an error on the volley. You can't just put the ball in the same spot at this level without somebody figuring out how they're going to take advantage of you. So if anything, because, you know, both Mike Wagner and Andrew Ong have this ability to, you know, take 4 balls and figure out how to drive, you're going to see them swing it side to side pretty regularly. Because even if you're playing offense, putting the ball on the same player 5 times in a row is going to allow them to find rhythm and a level of comfort.
Sure.
So,
yeah, going along with that, I think what you'll find is at this top level, when they go back and forth, I mean, their positioning so good and so tight, and their overheads are being hit to safe spots.
Right.
You know, and that's something that, you know, the average player watching is like, well, yeah, my pro did say, you know, pick and stick, but
that's the one that is going to hurt him. That backside screen, just Mike Wagner just is so good at placing that shot.
I think in addition to that, what we have seen as well is, you know, using that middle to transition. So you might see a couple go to a corner, then a ball go middle. And then they're going at that other side, you know, and kind of waiting. Ooh.
Yeah, caught the corner. Great waterfall.
Waterfall Nick.
So 4-2. Yeah, it's tough. I like it that everyone's running so hard into the screens that the cameras are knocked out of alignment. That's how you know it's a good match, when you can no longer watch it on the live stream.
Okay, so just because we brought this up on Thursday night,
Sure.
the all-important 7th game here.
This is the critical 7th game. Yep. Don't worry, I brought it up in the last match too.
Did you?
With Dave Broderick, yeah. You know, he's like, well, this is where it gets really important. And I was like, yes, some might call this the critical 7th game. Yeah, but this is where it is. You know, this is, one might even call this a must-win game for Baxter Granger, because you just don't love being at 5-2 ever. It's a good transition ball right there.
You know, Ryan's done a nice job every time in transition.
Yeah.
He is lobbed.
Yeah, the only time that that's such good spin to catch the side screen that thin.
Really good control there.
The only time that the transition game has ultimately hurt either of these teams is when that first follow-up shot like goes right into the nick. You know, like you saw the last game end with a waterfall off the nick in transition. But otherwise, if they make the play early, they're catching it a little thin. Did not clear the net. Good solid volley there from Andrew Ong, not intimidated by the Granger forehand. That is the first backhand screen drive error that you've seen from Mike Wagner, and it might be the only one of the match. Oh, That's where Andrew Ong's movement at the net just got in enough, of Mitch's headspace, where as he was hitting that ball, he was like, "Is he going to move? Is he going again?"
That's right. Yeah, just a little hesitation there.
So 5-2 Wagner Ong. Welcome to Medinah Country Club here in Medinah, Illinois. I'm Matt McClure alongside Anthony McPherson, tournament director of racket sports,
Yep.
life coach, certified life coach.
Let's not forget Mark Cunnington, who's our co-tournament director. We have a great relationship with the Glen Ellen Platform Tennis Club and Medinah Country Club, teaming up to run this co-run event.
It really does help to have a partner in crime, for doing this kind of stuff. I mean, just the sheer amount of work that a tournament director takes on by saying, yes, I will run a national event is kind of insane. You have to really love the sport, and you got to be willing to donate a lot of your time. What is the worst part about being a tournament director? Be honest, because the audience will know.
Yeah, I wouldn't even look at it that way. I just think that it's all about planning, right? Just like anything, if the planning that goes into it is the toughest part.
Yeah.
And then you hope that all the planning that went into it allows it to run smoothly.
Yes.
The one thing we can't control is the Andrew Ong playing style.
Yeah. What a jerk. How dare he be so good and athletic and take forever?
So good.
Yeah.
So good. But everything has seemed to run pretty smoothly today. And I think the other part, it's not the toughest part, but the easiest part is finding volunteers. I mean, there's so many local paddlers at each club site that was willing to pitch in and spend 6 to 8 hours watching paddle and
Yep.
inputting live scores.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's cool that this many people are into it, and really, ultimately, the best part of paddle is the community that makes it all happen and puts, all these things together, because none of these, the team of people that are involved, just in terms of man hours to run a national event, is impressive.
That's right. And
What a great dig from Mitch. Stop
That was.
ruining the cameras, Mitch. Oh, you could tell he was trying to just force that one a little bit down the line and change up the rhythm. It did not quite come back in the way he was hoping. So again, if you just joined us, this is Mitch Granger serving here at 2-5 in the first set. His partner Ryan Baxter is up at the net with the red, bright stuff on. Mike Wagner just hitting that volley in the blue hat, and Andrew Ong in the gray shirt, blue shoes. Also, between sets, I bet you'll find out, but Andrew Ong is a Pantene Pro V brand ambassador. You'll see when he takes the man bun out and shakes it out that he's got a lot going on.
Definitely some of the best hair on tour for sure.
I mean, it's or at least the most.
I wish my hair was that thick.
Yeah, I mean, that would be awesome. Yep. Mitch knew it as soon as he hit it that was going to come back, and he just decided to stay off the net. Great forehand flick there to take the net back, though.
All right, using that somewhat of the middle there.
Yeah, I like that heavy slash overhead from Mitch, though, that goes right at Andrew and forces him to flex out of the way.
Definitely.
There's first set. Ong Wagner, 6-2 against Ryan Baxter and Mitch Granger. We're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors, and we will be back right after this. Hello and welcome back. I'm Matt McClure alongside Anthony McPherson. The Medinah Cup here, put on by the APTA, the American Platform Tennis Association. We are just entering the second set here. Ong and Wagner took the first set against Baxter, Granger here in the men's semifinal. It's been a battle so far. I think ultimately Wagner and Ong have done a good job keeping Baxter Granger a little bit off balance. So while Mitch Granger and Ryan Baxter have found opportunities to play offense, it doesn't feel as though they're able to sort of dictate on their own terms. They're sort of having to be very selective about picking and choosing their spots. And I think the real element there has a lot to do with the transition game. So far, Ryan and Mitch have taken the net a whole bunch of times, right? And when they've gotten there, they've maybe been a little bit more aggressive than Wagner Ong have in the reverse position. Like it kind of feels like when Wagner Ong make a transition, they just immediately settle in to great net position and they're making volleys and there's like not any pressure to do anything extra. Whereas I think maybe Ryan Baxter and Mitch Granger have felt a little more pressure when they've taken the net to do more with the shot. They've missed a few more overheads as a result, and that kind of gets us to 6-2 where we're at right now. At least that's my assessment. What do you think, Anthony?
Well, I had to step away here for a second, but if
Bathroom
I start
break?
to
Smart.
bathroom break, yes. I was just going to say that it seems like the tempo of the match overall is kind of in Ong Wagner's corner right now. They seem very comfortable, very in tune with what they're trying to do. And I think that for Ryan and Mitch, it looks like they're almost feeling it out. Like they were testing a few things to feel out, you know, what might work.
What can we get away with?
Right.
It's a great move by Ryan to reestablish at the net and not overplay that next volley. It's a good cutter. He's there, a little inverted. Oh, that's tough. That's why it's so important that somebody who makes a move on that initial shot is actually going to hit that ball, because you see here both Ryan and Mitch end up at the net, and then that follow-up, nobody's there to cover and dig out the next shot.
That's right, and very consistent with what we were saying before, where, you know, well, that one is a little bit more of an all-out cutter, but still, it's more of like the probing cutter, right? Get them to come forward and expect the next ball. Andrew, oh boy,
Oh, bummer. We're going to have to play a let there. It looks like the lights just tripped, unfortunately, on the show.
we're going to have our
here.
member Ed Gritzenbach go
We
back
got
over.
it.
Unfortunately, they used the timer portion instead of the light switch portion.
They have an override.
Yes, so
We can blame the players for this, not the
Thank
live
you.
stream.
that's right.
The single technical error that we can put entirely on the players themselves.
Thank you, Ed Gritzenbach from Monaco Mechanical.
Nice. Was he an industry plant?
Exactly.
Did you plan this ahead of time? I don't know how many more balls I would put into Ong's side screen with what he's doing with that backhand screen drive. That's a great ball.
Gosh.
Nice high point of contact, and he just gets to hit that almost at a straight downward angle into the court. Just such a tough volley as that ball's dropping to your kneecaps. Great returns from Mitch. Just doesn't really seem to be bothering them. They're just staying back on that heavy spin and re-driving the next ball.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is that situation that I was talking about, right, where Mitch and Ryan have taken the net, right, And so theoretically this is an opportunity, but it feels like they've forced these points a little bit more than they might have needed to, right? Because now they're thinking, okay, we got it, and now we're going to hit maybe a little bit more aggressive overheads than they might if they were on the serving side.
Yes. Yeah, I wonder, if they're looking at, well, can they hurt us more off the screens or more off the deck? And,
Right.
and maybe they start to adjust that, because right now they are playing the screen drives. I mean, they're creating whatever they want right now.
Yeah. Caught the line.
What a good ball. Nick.
You can see Ryan say, oh, shoot, as he backs up for that. That's a good play. Oh, and the hands of Andrew Ong shuts it down. But ultimately, that is what Baxter, Granger are trying to create, right, is that drive opportunity with a floater. I mean, I don't know what else you can do with that ball. He stuck the backhand volley right at him, and Ong had his hands in front. So 1-0, Wagner Ong.
I'd like to think what they may be discussing here is, are we better off at the baseline?
Yeah. Yeah, or if they decide that they're going to transition, how are they going to do it specifically? Because they've gotten caught a couple of times with, getting to the net and then being out of position.
Yes.
Which is probably just a function of, maybe not having played together as much. You've seen Mitch and Ryan fight over a couple of balls, a couple drives, a couple overheads here and there. Haven't seen that so far from Wagner Ong.
Yeah, really not at all. Yeah, see, that hasn't really been phasing Ryan much off the deck, so why not kind of force Wagner maybe to take a few more balls?
Yeah. Yeah, at this level, it also becomes a little bit more difficult because, I don't know how much you really want to bait the drive against these guys. That's not a great idea, but it probably is an opportunity to say, okay, I've hit this overhead and I've seen Mike Wagner drive this out of this particular position. Let's try to take advantage of that as opposed to be surprised by it.
Right. Way to stay with that.
But I mean, for most of these guys, yeah, that one did not get to the side screen as Mitch was hoping, and Andrew Ong able to take advantage. Look at how close he stands. Oh, good move by Mitch. He forced that error by creeping forward.
Very, very nice move. The beauty there is if you saw that ball ended up going in, you saw Ryan shifting over to cover him there.
Yep. Yeah, so Andrew thought it was deep, made the call, and then immediately took it back and said, sorry, I thought that was out, but ball was called good, confirmed by chair umpire Rob Laboon. Forced it a little bit. I mean, as weird as it is to say, Mitch and Ryan are more successful at the net when they're putting the ball in the center third of the court. Under normal circumstances, you might be like, well, that's dealing with somebody's forehand, and then Andrew Ong clearly has a backhand. You got to put it in the corners. But, I mean, they've ultimately won more points at the net when they're really working that center. It's a good dig.
That is. Go back behind him. I like it. Cut it at his body.
Andrew laughing as he gets back in position. Oh, jeez.
My goodness. Just seems like he finds that corner.
Yeah. The other cool part about that shot is that is 100% what he is trying to do. Like, he's not trying to drive and then take the net. He is trying to hit that drive at an angle where it goes into the corner and the point's over.
Yes.
And he does it a shocking amount for how far away you are.
Oh,
Mixing up the sky. Oh, and it pays
works.
off. If you haven't seen this one before, this is a serve in which Ryan Baxter is going to put a ton of underspin on the ball and nuke it up above the lights so that when it hits the court, it spins back over and people can't get it. And it did work in that situation.
On game point.
Yeah.
That is
Kind of ill-advised, but, you know, cool shot. That'll make the highlight reel. I'll send that to Mark Innes.
game point. Let's do something different.
Yeah. Look at how quickly they get out of trouble there.
Wow.
Oh, good move by Ryan
Great
Baxter.
move. Great move. You can see where he holds that ball, you know, that chicken wing as he comes in. Watch this. Oh,
Yep.
wow. Catching the kind of the, I don't know what you would call that, the inside part of the ball, outside part of the ball, because he was hitting a backhand to control it. It looked great.
The perfect part of the ball.
The lacrosse volley.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hey, sometimes you got to improvise. Good roller, hugged the side screen enough where the spin pulled it down into the court. It was going to come off the snowboards if it had gotten to the back screen.
Oh, wow.
The fade away.
Wow.
Forehand slap.
Dude, way to get the
From
body
Ryan
out of
Baxter.
the way on that.
He does this sometimes where he just goes like
Watch the
pure,
rotation. Watch his
pure
boom.
athleticism, right? I mean, to hit the ball that hard with all of your momentum going the other direction and
Yeah.
then not fall over afterwards.
Yeah, such good body control. All four of these guys.
Little wide. All right, so 2-1 in the second set here. This is a good match. This is fun to watch. Really more of a mental battle, I think, than a physical one. You always like to see that, especially, you know, when you get to this point in the semis. I was talking the other day to our buddy Jason Love, and he and I were doing another live stream, and we were discussing the idea how important it is for your mind and your match focus to be on the other side of the net, right? So if your brain is on your own side of the net where you're trying to figure out, like, well, how do I change my grip to do this? Or how do I handle this screen? Or, you know, what am I going to, what's my position on this volley? What's my hand position? Like, those are not things that win you matches, you know? You have to be starting to think about, like, where do I want that person to stand? How am I going to hit this ball so I force them to do something? You know, what do I want my overhead to do off of the screen so they have to adjust? And it's just sort of that sort of highest level of the mental game.
That forehand looked pretty good.
He regrets
Yeah.
wasting the warm-up serve. You can start to see both Ryan and Mitch, when they put a ball into that ad side screen against Mike Wagner, they're starting to back up a little bit. They're starting to flinch. They're starting to think, if this drive shows up, I don't know that I want to be standing here. Because it's probably been has probably been the #1 shot that has won points for Wagner.
Yeah, I'd like to see if Ryan continues to hit more of that. It's not so much a slash, but you know, the cutter overhead more at Wagner's body.
Yeah.
You know, more at that first post where that ball's not jumping as much.
Right.
That's a great ball.
Yeah, that one he's less likely to drive. If for no other reason than he has to get out of the way first, right?
That's right.
But if you just go hard at the back screen like that.
Great communication up there at the net.
See, now I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. I think Mitch decided he was going to hit one hard because being at the net felt a little stale.
Yep.
Right? And so let's change things up. Unfortunately, the let cord clipper as it comes across the net does not get them that point. But I mean, that's more Mitch and Ryan's style. I think they'd prefer to be in transition and have like high action. I don't think they love to stand at the net for 50 shots in a row.
That is, I would totally agree with you.
Great return. Hut starts to get a little bit more full as we get deeper into this second set here in the men's semis.
Yeah, a lot more families and kids of players, and it's great to see.
It's a good call, good communication.
Especially in this warmer weather.
Yep. It's good.
I want to play a let, because that ball didn't.
They were talking about how the lights going off on the court next to them, you know, kind of all of a sudden threw some different shadows on the court. Ryan Baxter jokingly say, I want to play a let. The lights on the other court going off bothered me.
There it is. At the body. Oh, that was interesting.
Yep. Fadeaway backhand slash.
Yeah, he's got the fadeaways happening today.
It's a great adjustment by Mitch, throwing that lob with a little extra height and then shifting it into the corner so that he can counterpunch on the attack. That's a tough one. Good dig. Oh,
wow.
Pickleball.
Fast feet, slow hands there.
A little deep on the lob. It's the right play. Mitch trying to put a little bit more height on that lob to get him and his partner back in position, but forcing it causes a little bit of a deep error. It's 2-all.
The all-important fifth game.
How dare you try to make the fifth game the seventh game? Oh, nice dig.
Yeah, it looked like Ryan was ready to give up the net there just in case.
That's a great get. Oh, that's a tough one. He realized he was really close to the net and he didn't want to follow through and lose the point, and so he shorted the motion a little bit. It's a tough one.
There you go, Ryan. Good playing, dude.
Oh, that was
Good pressure.
really good follow-up.
Nice dodge. You know, the other one that I'm noticing here as we get deeper into the second is, oh, he feathered it in there.
What a
Great
get.
dig by Wagner. Oh, jeez. That's a great combination of overheads there that's a
What a dig.
lot of pick. As we get a little deeper into the second set, I was going to mention that I do think Wagner, Ong look a little bit more comfortable at the net. Like they don't mind when you drive, right? And it's not that Mitch and Ryan, don't have great hands by any means, but I think Mike and Ong are just a little bit more willing to kind of, like, they want the drive so they can hurt you with the volley. It's just a little bit more their strength.
Yes, yes.
Tough one. I feel like the only thing that warranted that shot was that Ryan could tell that Ong was in trouble, right? And so he was like doing a deep squat on back against the back panel, and he was like, well, this is an opportunity. I don't want to waste it. And maybe went for a cutter that wasn't quite the right time.
Again, this net positioning is impressive.
Look at how far they had to stretch them out in order to take the net with a drive, too.
I know.
I mean, Ong had to go all the way back to the alley, forcing Wagner to slide over so that they could hit a drive in the opposite alley.
See, those are Ryan Baxter has such good spin control on those overheads. All four of these guys just great competitors.
What do you think makes... Oh, just wide.
Oh, man.
What do you think makes someone a great competitor?
Oof. I mean, obviously the mental game is like the most important, right? But I think there's a combo. Anytime you're playing a team sport, I think what's most undervalued is how to be a good teammate, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a big one. Starting to see some more energy here from Mitch and Ryan.
Knowing, having some thick skin, being able to have those tough discussions during the match, and not take it as a criticism and more as a way of, just figuring out a way to win.
Yeah, I would say that there is this weird melding of, like, the perfectionist procrastinator, meaning that, like, you have to want to do stuff perfectly, but you also have to be willing to sort of, like, let it slide when it doesn't go that direction. You have to be like, next time. Like, I'm not going to stress about that right now. I'm, just going to kind of let it flow and try to make the next one perfect. And it's this, that's where I think the mental game can become so valuable, is that the average person recognizes that they're making mistakes, and then they get into quicksand, where the harder they fight, the worse it gets.
The worse it gets.
Yeah, and it just starts to become like, oh no, and you're like, my coach told me not to make so many mistakes, and the more I think about it, the more mistakes I'm making. And as a really good mental competitors have the ability to shake it off and determine if something was was it a technical error or a tactical error?
Right.
Tactical error is like, that was a mistake, I'm never going to hit that shot again. Technical error is, oops, I missed it, but it was the right shot, and I'm going to hit it all match long, hoping that, knowing that the percentages are going to go my direction because it was the right thing to do. Oh, tough. Great backhand drive. Just such a short backswing and compact pull there from Wagner. Just no one is expecting the drive, right? He's standing right at the baseline, It's not like they didn't hit that, last shot deep in the court where the normal person would lob it, but he just said, no worries. Take it on the rise, snap it off. Corient is the official wealth sponsor of the APTA's 2024-25 season. Corient is a fee-only wealth manager who puts their clients at the center of everything they do. Learn more at corient.com.
I'm not saying Riley gets over there and make a shot. He probably can't. Mortals, even though it could be. I can look at that. So it's just like, what do you want to say? There's a show and show up. I'm like, guys, by the way, they forgot about it because, of course, okay, what were they?
Chair umpire keeping his blood circulation there. Rob Laboon up in the chair. We thank him for his time and efforts. We thank our local sponsors, CDM Software Solutions, Sport Court Midwest, RT Nelson and Associates, Baird Private Wealth and Management, Dilly Life, 2 on Red, Monaco Mechanical, Viking, and Jimmy John's. If you're just joining in, we've got Baxter and Granger versus Ong and Wagner. We're at 3-2 Wagner Ong in the second set. And some good conversation happening in the backcourt right now with Mitch and Ryan. Seeing if they can change this momentum here.
A rare kind of forced drive there from Wagner. That ball had plenty of spin on it, but he just got jammed up enough.
I do like the two-handed backhands there, two-handed backhand volleys by Granger. I think, those balls coming heavy off the back screen from Wagner, just the ability to absorb with two. Oh, look at that, great ball. I'll have to thank Mitch for that one later.
Oh, great move. Good cover as well. Little extra on that one.
Yeah, not many forced like that.
You don't usually see Andrew Ong hit a drive from behind his body like that. He's going for the backspin again, and he makes it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, jeez. Doesn't that feel like it's a little bit of a force from...
This is impressive. Ryan did a lot of these last night in the Pro-Am for fun.
Uh-huh.
And
he clearly was warming it up.
I mean, clearly the members asked me, will he do this? And I said, well, I don't think he'll do it that much. And he's done it, twice now? In the semifinals? It's impressive.
I mean, the guts to try it at all on the live stream, Oh, good pick there by Ryan. That thing was low and hit a seam.
Yeah, really nice.
Get it off in a weird direction.
Really nice paddle preparation. These guys, off of all these spins and the screens, you see their paddle immediately plan for lobs. And if the drive's there, they're still able to do it.
Oh, the dinkage. Yes, he held it long enough, but... Oh, yeah! I think the tough one here is that that's what you have to do to win a point against these particular players. Oh, nice move. Yep. All right, good. Turning into a little momentum here at 40 love for Baxter Granger. So this is a danger zone in the world of paddle, right? You've hit some fancy shots and they've paid off, and now you do over accelerate and the wheels come off and you start giving away free points because the adrenaline takes over, or can you kind of regain your composure and keep everything solid, right?
That's right.
And really quickly here, 40-30.
Almost have the mentality like you're playing from behind.
Yeah. Yeah, because as fun as that is to watch, it's not sustainable. So, when do you decide to draw it back a little bit?
Oh, that's a good waterfall. Matt, we still have women's final here tonight.
We do still have the ladies' final coming up, which if this ends up going 2 sets, will probably be, around 7 o'clock. But if it goes 3 sets, it'll probably be at 12:45 a.m. No, just women's final to follow.
All right, and we're getting started here. 4-3 Baxter Granger. Granger serving.
Now let's see if the always critical 7th game theory holds true, right? We were at 3-all. Baxter Granger won the 7th game with some momentum, carrying us into the second half of the set here. So let's see how important that actually turns out to be. Oh, what a dig by Mitchell. And now you calm down and you hit some quality lobs and regain your composure. What's your composure like, Anthony? Would you consider your composure level to be strong or quite strong?
I would say it depends on the day. It depends on the time of night.
Nice.
Definitely during tournaments, I'm more
move,
locked
Mitch.
in, but on a league night, that is a little tougher for me to keep my
to
composure.
Find your composure?
Yeah.
I think I left mine at college. Nice. Oh, great drive. Again, Baxter, that's tough, forcing the transition. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Baxter fading away. What a dig by Mitchell there. And it's somehow still able to drive off of his back foot and hit that kind of perfect laser beam.
All right, I think mentality here is, it is love 30, but don't focus on the score, just this point. Oof.
Clipped it. We'll top of the tape and drifted wide. These are nice high recovery balls here. Just kind of forcing them to totally hit the reset button momentum-wise. Smart at love 40. Keep the ball in play. The scary part is that Andrew Ong will hit that reset overhead forever. Like, he doesn't have a shot clock when it comes to that particular shot. Like, he doesn't mind I'll just let it drop, and I'll play that ball at 4 miles an hour and try to land it deep. I hope you drive one so I get to volley. It's just kind of like, he'll just hit this shot legitimately forever. And a rare volley miss.
I think it's probably a good time to mention, when all these guys drive, especially off the deck, it's not necessarily they're trying to hit around their opponents. They're just trying to hit a paddle.
Yeah.
Or
like
pick their spot.
That particular shot right there from Mike Wagner, like all he does with this ball is try to put it on Mitch's backhand. He's not like, I'm going to hit it around him and take the net. He just is like, okay, I'm going to make him hit a backhand.
That's right.
And then if he hits it low enough and there's less reaction time, maybe it turns into an error. Early move from Ryan Baxter to take that thing on the rise. This is disturbing because that's not a bad overhead. He landed it in the corner of the service box. It had angle. It wasn't short. Baxter was just already moving before the ball was struck. That's a tough ball to go after. It had enough spin where it was going to be a problem off the paddle, even if you swing hard.
Look at this combination of overheads here. It's impressive.
True attack overheads.
Look at that, just body.
Andrew Ogg's been working on the volley. He'll set that thing up for short balls and hit that pattern of cutters all day. Clearly paying off. Also, he's on steroids. That's devastating.
Very nice.
It's a great return for Mitch to come up with that.
Still, that overhead, even though Andrew was able to tee off.
Yeah, I agree. That last volley definitely drifted long, and I think was a bit of a late call, but it was a correct call. All right, so another momentum swing here. Wagner Ong able to capitalize in the last couple of games after going down 3-4. And this is, this is honestly a tough part of the game as well, but just in terms of momentum control, right? Baxter Granger played that great game in which they hit some really high-risk shots and they all paid off, right? And it took them up 4-3.
Yes.
And then did you expend a little too much of your firepower, all in one game where it's not sustainable, and then you back it off, and you back it off too much, where now, you're having trouble finding ways to generate errors and keep them under pressure.
That's right. I think for, each player, each team, it's different, right? I think you have some that like the faster tempo. You have some that have, maybe the flashier shots, but the one thing all teams have in common is that you can't feed into the beat. The beat, get beat crazy off of big shot to big shot to big shot.
Right.
And coming back down to earth and still picking those right times.
Yeah, you hit a couple of high-risk shots on big points, and sometimes it's the worst thing that can happen because then you think you can do it. I've definitely been in matches like that where my partner who doesn't have, a cutter will all of a sudden come up with something and kill a ball, and I'll be like, ah, crap, he made it. Like now he's going to try it 14 more times.
Way to loosen that grip and absorb that volley.
Yep, good hands. Nice time for that shot, too. Yeah.
The ball just catches up to you so fast.
Yeah. The other thing that, Andrew Ong does so well, and maybe it's a function of him not liking to change his grip, but he always plays the ball from way high in the strike zone, right? Like he doesn't let it drop, and so part of that error on the volley that just got made by Ryan Baxter is that it's way up high still.
Right.
It's definitely coming down into the court, but Andrew Ong is making contact with it when it's so high that it feels like it's sort of level at the beginning, and it's coming up across his shoulder.
Yes, and
when you're trying to make that volley.
Yes, and much easier to do in this weather. I mean, what do we have here today? We have about 50.
It's currently 63 degrees.
Yeah, 63 degrees. I mean,
it was 68 at the high.
Yeah, even good overheads that are grabbing the screen. It's still so lively.
That's tough. Double match point here for Wagner Ong. Oh, and it clips the tape and drops the other way.
Okay, 2 match points saved, I believe. And that's encouraging. Andrew's not wrong there. I mean,
yeah,
sitting ball in the middle of the court. I haven't seen him miss many of those at all.
Yep.
And that's what I'm talking about, being a good partner. It doesn't always have to be positive. It could be, hey,
no, yeah,
let's knock that off.
Don't do that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're truly willing to be in a partnership, then it can't all be positive reinforcement. Like some of it has to be, hey, you make me feel nervous every time you hit this ball, or if you do less of that, we are in more control of the point, or whatever. You just have to be willing to accept that feedback and
that's right,
and make adjustments.
Wow,
it's good cover there. Did he catch it?
He caught it.
He must have caught the baseline. I thought for sure that was going long.
Relax the point here. Let's see.
Switching back.
Nice switch in the backcourt, yep. Andrew does hit that deuce side, that body overhead at that inside hip of the deuce, and the ball just jumps a ton off that back screen. So if Mitch lets that ball go, I mean, the ball's jumping so much. So that one sat.
Yeah, that's a tough one, too, because that's exactly what Wagner wanted. He was like, gosh, I hope you drive this off the screen when I'm right on top of the net. Like,
Great coverage by Mitch. I love that communication in the backcourt as well. Yep. We talk a lot about it when we're at the net, but backcourt communication is so key. I mean, you hear Andrew every single point.
Yep.
Every single shot. Yeah,
the correct time to be quiet on the paddle court is never. Sometimes when you really get in the groove, you'll see teams like call the return. Like somebody will hit a serve, and you'll see the returner be like, mine, and you're like, yeah, no crap. That's based on the rules.
Just
you're
in the zone.
You're going to hit it. Just a little deep on that recovery ball. Just great patience here from Wagner. Just not forcing as many shots, just looking for opportunities. Oh! Yeah, let's do it.
Oh!
That's amazing. Now we're going to talk about the rules because I don't know what to do here.
I think Mitch was on his side.
I think Mitch was on his side too, and so now if the follow through, if the follow through goes across the net and touches another player or another paddle, I'm not sure what to do. I mean, Mike made his contact, and it obviously hit Mitch's paddle afterwards, or the ball wouldn't have been able to come back over the net.
I'm on my side. I'm on your side. Yeah. Your ball, you can come over on that. Come over and hit contact, correct. No, I'm not impeding because I'm on my side.
Yeah, this is a super rare circumstance.
I think maybe the question here, and is that Mike's follow through could come over the net, and that Mitch's paddle was preventing that follow through. But I think.
Yeah, but you can't. You also can't.
Yeah, it appears that Mike Wagner hits the ball into Granger's paddle, and Granger hits the winner.
That's what I would call it as well. And even if Wagner feels like, well, my follow through made contact with you, then what? Like anytime two players are close, you can just extend your follow through and touch them.
Right.
You know, like that. That can't be how it works.
It appears they got it sorted out the correct way.
I also think that's sort of a testament to these four guys as well, where nobody's going to stand out there and like scream for you to come out on the court as the tournament director and be like, Anthony, I'll never play this tournament again unless you rule in my favor.
That's right. That's right.
Which is totally something I would do.
Totally. I also don't have that control, which is wonderful. Rob Laboon is the he's the expert chair. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, good blitz. Early move there from Andrew to make that happen. I love it that he just continues to go. Oh no. That's too bad. That's about as irritated as you'll see Ryan Baxter.
Well,
in his free time, he participates in MMA, so everybody just be quiet as you walk off the court.
I was going to say world's strongest man. I mean, that guy is.
Yeah, that as well. That is a tough way to end a match.
Well, the good news is Ryan, after this match, will. It's like he didn't even play a match. He's such a good guy.
Yeah,
all four of these guys, I think, showed a lot of their sportsmanship and great athleticism today.
For sure, yeah. And I think this will be a fun one. This will come up in analysis as, we get through. And I'm sure that clip will make it to social media. But it's a great group of guys out here. And congratulations to Ong and Wagner, who will play in the final tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We're going to call it an evening for this match, but we have the ladies' final coming up here in a few minutes. We're going to reset the stream and get our commentators back online and engaged, and be back shortly with the women's final. So thanks so much for joining us, and that's a wrap for the men's semis here at the Medinah Cup.
Thank you, Matt.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.